we are seeing from Isopanishad, sloka number 9. Okay, so those who engage in the culture of nascent activities is nothing but whatever um, activities that is against the principles, against the rules and regulations. So it is not that knowing knowledge is one aspect. The not knowing the knowledge is also actually in the mode of ignorance, right? So ignorance means the tamasa guna means not that sleepy, dull-headed. No, somebody might be very good in prospective in material life, but if he doesn't have any knowledge, he is in the tamoguna only. He might be very sharp in certain activities. He might be doing all materialistic things very perfectly, but that doesn't mean that he is in the rajoguna or this. He is still in the tamoguna because he is still not having the rajoguna. So avidyam upasate. Okay, so this we have seen in avidhi purvakam, right? We saw in Bhagavad Gita. What is meant by avidhi purvakam? Not knowing the right way and then worshipping in the wrong way, right? So instead of worshipping that supreme Brahman, supreme Bhagavan, supreme truth, they are worshipping something else or somebody else, and then it is indirectly getting benefit, and then they are not into the right understanding. Okay, the word bhuyaha, we have seen bhuyaha also many times. Bhuyaha means again and again, repeat, right? So it is much more dangerous. But still, those who are in the culture of so-called knowledge. So Prabhupada is making it very clear. So Vidyayam means the culture of knowledge. Culture of knowledge here means their own concocted way of understanding that knowledge. Right? I will do it like why Ekalavya was not accepted. In one sense, people will argue, no, it is only for Arjuna. No, but in the other sense, the dharma portion and perfection of that particular thing, understanding knowledge requires the Shastra to go through an Acharya way, right? So self-made man is all okay, but the real truth, real understanding, real thing will come only through the surrender or through the humility demonstrated towards the Acharya, right? So that is where we need to understand. Okay. Let's continue. Please read.
Somebody else is reading?
I will read.
Okay, please read, Maharaj.
Of the different classes of men, karmis, jnanis, and yogis, the karmis are those who are engaged in the activities of sense gratification. In the modern civilization, 99.9% of the people are engaged in the activities of sense gratification under the flags of industrialization, economic development, altruism, political activism, and so on. All these activities are more or less based on satisfaction of the senses to the exclusion of the kind of God consciousness described in the first mantra. In the language of Bhagavad Gita 7.15, people who are engaged in gross sense gratification are mudas, asses. The ass is a symbol of stupidity. Those who simply engage in the profitless pursuit of sense gratification are worshipping avidya. According to Shri Isopanishad, and those who play the role of helping this sort of civilization in the name of education advancements are actually doing more harm than those who are on the platform of gross sense gratification. The advancement of learning by a godless people is as dangerous as a valuable jewel on the hood of a cobra. A cobra decorated with a valuable jewel is more dangerous than are not decorated. In the Hari Bhakti Shuddhodaya 3.11.12, the advancement of education by a godless people is compared to the decoration on the dead body. In India, as in many, sorry, Prabhu, in India, as in many other
Yes,
countries,
good. Oh, good.
some people follow the custom of leading a procession with a decorated dead body for the pleasure of lamenting relatives. In the same way, modern civilization is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. All such activities are aimed towards the sense gratification, but above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. Thus, the aim of real education should be self realization, realization of the spiritual values of the soul. Any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya or nescience, and to culture such nescience means to go down to the darkest region of the ignorance. According to Bhagavad Gita
Thank you, Mataji.
2.42
So,
and 7.15, mistaken mundane educators are
yeah, thank you,
known as
Mataji. Just hold
Veda
on. Mataji.
Vadarata.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Just a minute. You're able to hear me?
Ah, sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I can.
Yeah, Mataji. So what I was saying, yeah. So these two, Prabhupada gives a wonderful two specific analogies. Very nice one. Two, there are two actually in Haribhakti Sudhodaya. One is all about a cobra decorated on a valuable jewel is more dangerous than not decorated. So, which means that that cobra is highly in the state of getting attacked, or it will automatically attack. So, um, the advancement of learning by godless people is dangerous. So those who are atheistic, they will try to do all kind of the so-called high scientific research and everything. So if they don't have that godlessness, or I mean, if they are not having that god-fearing nature, right? So Albert Einstein was considered a very great scientist. And in the scientific science, the so-called science groups, scientists, many of them think that person or God-fearing person, theistic person. So the more and more advanced in the science, they are more towards atheistic philosophy only, right? But Einstein was completely in a very theistic way. He always had that God-fearing nature. He always had that God-fearing mentality. But mostly if you go keep going towards that understanding of science, this and all, that atheistic mentality comes. So that's what Prabhupada is also making it very clear. The advancement of education by godless people is compared to this one. So second comparison, what is the second comparison, is about decorations on a dead body. So there are two different analogies. First analogy is about cobra with the jewel. So that portion. Second portion is about dead body, right? So whomsoever is like, so the PhD or degree holder, this one and all, if they are completely godless, if they are completely um, atheistic, whatever that PhDs or whatever, this one is completely kind of a dead body. Right? So that is what Prabhupada is also making it very clear. So they are called Muda, right? So that Muda portion is also. So emphasis is on about intelligence, emphasis is about knowledge, but that knowledge and emphasis is more towards having that bhakti, having that particular knowledge, and leading towards bhakti. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I say. Any education which does not lead to realization must be considered as avidya. Right? In Bhagavad Gita, like if you see 13th chapter, Krishna makes a one big list of all the things and say, other than this, everything else is avidya. Everything then is not at all knowledge. So he makes, what is that list? From sloka 6 to 18, or 8 to 13, he makes it very clear. Whatever satyam, saucham, arjam, so whatever the entire set of qualities, goodness, everything that has been put together that will lead one towards bhakti, one towards improvement, is only the knowledge. So what everything else is avidya only.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you
Yeah,
said here the cobra one is the one analogy, and the dead body related to the related is another analogy. So the
correct.
cobra, a decorated cobra and non-decorated cobra, how are they different? And when a godless person who is getting educated, means who has no feeling regarding the supreme personality, he's considered as dead person. So what's
Correct.
the link between the two, and how are they different two analogies? So,
No, two different analogies. Don't between Prabhupada is giving two different analogies. So first analogy is all about advancement of knowledge is more dangerous. Like having, see, typically in India, typically in any country, whenever you have that cobra with that hood or with that jewel, it is more dangerous because it is prone to attack, and it will also attack. It will be get attacked also. Yeah, so it will be more
means
fearsome, more
like
dangerous.
Prabhuji, like cobra, you're the cobra with jewel, you are selling like USA with all the weapons they have. They can attack anybody. So
Yes,
in the same way, the cobra with
yes,
the jewel can is dangerous in that sense. You
yes.
are saying, Prabhuji.
Correct.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I say. So this atom bombs or this That's what I'm trying to say. The scientists with the atheistic mentality, they don't even think about humanity. They don't even think about what is happening. They will just kill everything. Right? Even in Singapore, we know so many times I've seen a lot of plants, the flora and fauna. If you see here, it is all kind of an atheistic way only. It is all there, but no flower, no fruit, nothing. So there's no use of that. It is just decorative. Outside world, it is wow, so greenery, so nice. But actually, from a humanity science perspective, you see, it is actually nothing. Whatever it is coming is, they scientifically modify everything, genetically modified. You don't get any fruit, you don't get any flower, because they say it is a maintenance issue. Just like so, then it will bring all kind of small insects. So we don't want that. So it is kind of artificially looks good, but it is all at the artificial level only, right? Same
Okay.
way, the dead body also. So the person might be there, he might be walking, he might be doing everything, but he's considered as a dead body, which means the jivatma is not recognized, which means the person is like, even though he is advanced, he might have done all PhD, everything, he's still not in a right state. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Continue. Anybody?
I'll read Prabhuji. According to the Bhagavad Gita 2.42, 7.15, mistaken mundane educators are known as Veda Vada Rata and
Vadar.
Maya, Veda Vada Rata and Maya Partha Gnana. They may also be atheistic demons, the lowest of men. Those who are Veda Vada Rata pose themselves as very learned in the Vedic literature, but unfortunately they are completely diverted from the purpose of the Vedas. In the Bhagavad Gita 15.15, it is said that the purpose of the Vedas is to know the supreme personality of Godhead. But these Veda Vada Rata men are not at all interested in the personality of Godhead. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such fruitive results as the attainment of heaven. As stated in Mantra 1, we should know that the personality of Godhead is the proprietor of everything and that he must be satisfied with our allotted portions of the necessities of life. The purpose of all Vedic literature is to awaken this God consciousness in the forgetful living being. And this same purpose is presented in various ways in the different scriptures of the world for the understanding of a foolish mankind. Thus, the ultimate purpose of all religions is to bring one back to Godhead. But the Veda Vadarata people, instead of realizing that the purpose of the Vedas is to revive the forgetful soul's lost relationship with the personality of Godhead, take it for granted that such side issues as the attainment of heavenly pleasure for sense gratification, the lust for which the causes of their material bondage in the first place are the ultimate end of the Vedas. Such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. Sometimes they even condemn the Puranas, which are authentic Vedic explanations for laymen. The Vedavada Rathas give their own explanation of the Vedas, neglecting the authority of great teachers, Acharyas. They also tend to raise some unscrupulous person from among themselves and present him as the leading exponent of Vedic knowledge. Such Vedavada Rathas are especially condemned in this mantra by the very appropriate Sanskrit word Vidayam Rataha. Vidayam refers to the study of the Vedas.
Vidyayam. Vidyayam.
Vidyayam.
Vidyayam.
Vidyayam refers to the study of the Vedas because the Vedas are the origin of all knowledge, Vidya. And Rataha means those engaged. Vidyayam Rataha thus means those engaged in the study of the Vedas. The so called students of the Vedas are condemned herein because they are ignorant of the actual purpose of the Vedas on account of their disobeying the Acharyas. Such Vedavada Ratas search out meanings in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. They do not know that the Vedic literature is a collection of extraordinary books that can be understood only through the chain of disciplic succession. One must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order
Thank
to
you.
understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. That is
Thank you,
the
bro.
direction
Thank
of.
you. We just,
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
thank you. I think there is some little lag, I think, but it's okay. Is my voice clear? On there's no lag, right? I mean, it comes.
Yeah, it's clear, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Is there?
Prabhuji, previously it was getting stuck somewhere when we were saying previously. Now it's okay. But sometimes in between it was because of the, I think, some internet problem, maybe from my side or your side, I don't know. The voice was getting choked, cannot be heard actually. Hare Krishna.
Okay, no problem. So Veda Vadarata. So Maya Aprahata Jnanam. The word Prabhupada from he's taking it from Bhagavad Gita. Maya Aprahata Jnanam. Mudaha. So we have seen all kind of people who doesn't accept the Supreme Lord. So in last sense is the Maya Aprahata Jnanam. So they have the knowledge, but Maya Aprahata Jnanam. So that knowledge is Aprahata. It is covered, or it is smoke covered, or it is completely illusioned by Maya, because of their desire, because of their non-acceptance of the position. So they are also considered as the atheistic person. So Vedavadarata clearly understand, they'll know all kind of slokas, left to right, top to bottom, everything, and then they'll say everything, but still they will not accept Supreme Lord. Okay, this Prabhupada is also making this point very that they do not search out meaning. Very nicely is putting, search out meanings in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. Today also in ISKCON we have this wonderful, now social media is taking up, and then our court verdict, everything, right? The same concept, whatever that we are supposed to follow from an acharya or disciplinary succession, but it was taken up in a completely different context, different perspective, and then we are getting into so much of problems, right? So the tattvartham, or the philosophical understanding, if it is not very clearly understood through the disciplinary succession, tomorrow if in the third generation or in the fourth generation, you will never get that understanding, the right understanding, right perspective understanding, if you don't follow the present acharya way, right? Then everything will be like kind of, oh, it may be he might have told like this. No, then it is completely wrong, right? This is my perspective. So everybody will start bringing their own perspectives, their own way of putting it, and then it will completely destroy the parampara system. So that is what happened. Like even after Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance, everybody took up their own Veda Vadaratas. They don't, no, Acharya is told this way, let me do it this way. So this is my city, I will manage this. Don't come here at all. This is my madam, my mat, don't come. So it just split like anything, right? We accept the purpose, really accept the truth, really accept getting into the particular real purpose of knowledge, right? So then that is why we have so many different things. Okay. Yeah. Okay, continue. Anybody? Okay, I'll read. One must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. That is the direction of Mundaka Upanishad 1 to 12. These Veda Vadarata people, however, have their own acharyas who are not in the chain of transcendental succession. Thus, they progress into the darkest region of ignorance by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. They fall even further into ignorance than those who have no knowledge of the Vedas at all. The Maya Aprahata Jnana class of men are self-made gods. Such men think that they themselves are gods, and then there is no need of worshipping any other god. They'll agree to worship an ordinary man if he happens to be rich, but they'll never worship the supreme Vishnu God. Such men, unable to recognize their own foolishness, never consider how it is that God can be entrapped by Maya, his own illusion energy. If God were ever entrapped by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. Such men say that God is all powerful, but they do not consider that if he is all powerful, then there is no possibility of his being overpowered by Maya. These self-made gods cannot answer all these questions very clearly. They are simply satisfied to have become God themselves. Hare Krishna. Okay, very clear. This loka summary is what? Maya Aprahata Jnana. So half-baked knowledge, or knowledge avidipurvakam, completely getting into a different way of worship or different take of understanding is more dangerous than having no knowledge at all. Okay, so that is what. So what is our knowledge? What is our knowledge? Accepting truth, acceptance of the supreme personality of Godhead, that he is the Isham, he is the Isha, he is the proprietor, he is the owner, and then we are all subordinates, we are all servants of him. Okay, that portion is to be understood through the Vedas, to be understood through the Shastra Pramanas, to be understood through the Acharya who comes from the disciplic succession. Okay, a bona fide spiritual master from a disciplic succession. Okay, let's go to 10th sloka.
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Sri Isopanishad 10. अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यदाहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमधीराणां येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे. Translation: The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience. Purport: As advised in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita 13.8 to 12, one should culture knowledge in the following way. One should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. One should not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. One should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of his body, by the thoughts of his mind, or his words. One should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. One should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. One should search out a bona fide spiritual master who can lead him gradually to the stage of spiritual realization, and one must submit himself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. In order to approach the platform of self realization, one must follow the regulative principles enjoined in the revealed scriptures. One must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. One should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self realization. One should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of the body. One should not falsely identify himself with the gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to his body to be his own. One should always remember that as long as he has a material body, he must face the miseries of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. The best course is to find out the means by which one may regain his spiritual identity. One should not be attached to more than the necessities of life required for spiritual advancement. One should not be more attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures ordain. One should not be happy or distressed over desirables and undesirables, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. One should become an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna and serve him with rapt attention. One should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere favorable for spiritual culture, and one should avoid congested places where non devotees congregate. One should become a scientist or philosophical philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge, recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body. These 18
Thank
items
you.
combine to form
Yeah, finish, Prabhu. This paragraph also.
These 18 items combine to form a gradual process by which real knowledge can be developed. Except for these, all other methods are considered to be in the category of nescience. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great acharya, maintained that all forms of material knowledge are merely external features of the illusory energy, and that by culturing them, one becomes no better than an ass. This same principle is found here in Sri Isopanishad. By advancement of material knowledge, modern man is simply being converted into an ass. Some materialistic politicians in spiritual guise decry the present system of civilization as satanic, but unfortunately they do not care about the culture of real knowledge as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, they cannot change the satanic situation. In
Thank
the
you, Prabhu.
modern society.
Thank you.
Okay, brother.
Very nice. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. So this 18 that as I mentioned earlier, what is meant by real knowledge? What is meant by avidhi? What is meant by the knowledge of nescience, which means kind of ignorant state. So very clearly it is mentioned. The word dhiraha is very important. So when you get into the vidhyaya or the knowledge that is really getting to bhakti portion, that is good. So one, you have to shushruma, iti shushruma. The word shushruma we have seen in many slokas. Shushruma means what? Through hearing, through which means what? Shravanam, right? Whenever we say shastra pramanam or through the shabda pramanam, that is the perfection, that is the truth that we have to accept. How? Through the dhira mentality, right? We have to become dhira. We means we have to become grave. We have to become determined. We have to be very, very clear in our understanding. So two aspects. One is what is to be done, how it is to be done through the 18 way, and the other one is the avidya. Avidya means from a ignorance perspective. So the whys have explained one result is derived from. So what is the result? What is the result? It is more towards bhakti, to more towards understanding, more towards the right path. Then that is a different result is obtained from the culture, which means what? What is the result? It is more of same and same. So again and again, the janma mrityu jara vyadhi. It will be again more and more complete in the state of ignorance, binded towards this material platform. So these are all qualities which we have to imbibe that will help us to get that knowledge. Okay. So master, one should be dhira, one should be religious, one should be pakka gentleman, one should be fixed in scriptures, all these specific points. Like, okay, that's it. Okay, this is very nice. See, he's talking about 50 years back. Now we can clearly see this, right? In modern society, even a boy thinks himself self-sufficient and pays no respect to elderly. Then 50 years back itself, this case. Now we can see the real thing happening, right? Okay, please continue.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I will. In the modern society, even a boy thinks himself self sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men. Due to the wrong type of education imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving their elders headaches. Thus, Sri Upanishad very strongly warns that the culture of science is different from that of knowledge. The universities are, so to speak, centers of science only. Consequently, scientists are busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. University students today are not given instruction in the regulative principles of brahmacharya, celibate student life, nor do they have faith in any scriptural injunctions. Religious principles are taught for the sake of money and fame only, and not for the sake of practical action. Thus, there is animosity not only in social and political fields, but in the field of religion as well. Nationalism has developed in different parts of the world due to cultivation of science by the general people. No one considers that this tiny earth is just a lump of matter floating in immeasurable space along with many other lumps. In comparison to the vastness of space, these material lumps are like just dust particles in the air because God has kindly made these lumps of matter complete in themselves. They are perfectly equipped with all necessities for floating in space. The drivers of our spaceships may be very proud of their achievements, but they do not consider the supreme driver of these greater, more gigantic spaceships called planets. There are innumerable suns and innumerable planetary systems also, as infinite infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, we small creatures are trying to dominate these unlimited plans. Thus, we take repeated birth and death and are generally frustrated by old age and disease. The span of human life is scheduled for about 100 years, although it is gradually decreasing to 20 or 30 years. Thanks to the culture of science, befooled men have created their own nations within these planets in order to grasp sense enjoyment more effectively for these few years. Such foolish people draw up various plans to render national democracies perfectly, a task that is totally impossible. Yet, for this purpose, each and every nation has become a source of anxiety for others. More than 50% of a nation's energy is devoted to defense measures and thus is spoiled. No one cares for the cultivation of real knowledge, yet people are falsely proud of being advanced in both material and spiritual knowledge. Ishopanishad warns us of this faulty type of education, and the Bhagavad Gita gives instructions as to the development of real knowledge. This mantra states that the instructions of Vidya, knowledge, must be acquired from a Dhira. A Dhira is one who is not distributed by material illusion. No one can be undisturbed unless he is perfectly spiritually realized, at which time one neither hankers nor laments for anything. A Dhira realizes that the material body and mind he has acquired by chance through material association or but foreign elements. Therefore, he simply makes the best use of bad bargain. The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entity. The living entity has actually functions in the living spiritual world, but this material world is dead. As long as the living spiritual sparks manipulate the dead lumps of matter, the dead world appears to be living world. Actually, it is living. It is the living souls, the parts and parcels of supreme living being, who move the world. The Dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles. To follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and regulative principles come down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in the hazardous way of nascent education. One can become one can become a dhira
Hare Krishna.
only by Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
There was some disconnect. And there is some disconnect in my line only, I think. Okay. Yeah, finish the two paragraphs, Mataji.
Prabhu, did you unshare? Okay. To follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and regulative principles come down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in the hazardous way of nascent education. One can become a dhira only by submissively hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Arjuna, for example, became a dhira by submissively hearing from Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead Himself. Thus, the perfect disciple must be like Arjuna, and the spiritual master be as good as Lord Himself. This is the process of learning Vidya, knowledge from the Dhira, the undisturbed. An adhira, one who has not undergone the training of a dhira, cannot be an instructive leader. Modern politicians who pose themselves as dhiras are actually adhiras, and one cannot expect perfect knowledge from them. They are simply busy seeing on to their own remuneration in dollars and cents. How then can they lead the mass of people to the right path of self realization? Thus, one must hear submissively from a dhira in order to attain actual education. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. It's a very clear purport. Understanding the knowledge, real knowledge through a dhira. Dhira is the person who is undisturbed, who is realized, who can do that, the imparting of the knowledge very clearly, right? I think that all the other Prabhupada is also this word I like. I think everybody will like this word. What is that one? This one. Boys all over the world are giving their elders headaches. Boys here mean children, right? So that time 10, 50 years back itself the same. Now also the same situation. The situation will still continue the same way, right? So due to wrong type of education being imparted in universities. Okay, university students today are not given instructions in the regulative principles of brahmacharya. So they eat in their own way. I mean, sleep in their own this way. Like no, nowadays at least earlier days, but at least morning time is the best time to study. Now it's become ulta. They say the best time to study is only after 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. Many of them follow that, right? They think that that is the best time, but actually that Brahma Muhurta time is already lost. For them, the Brahma Muhurta starts only at 10 o'clock. Everybody is awake. everybody is everything
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking a lot. We can hardly hear you.
then let me then so it is completely in pick up now. Is it okay? I've just moved to a different location in place.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's okay.
It's okay. So what I was saying is about
About the bad timing you were saying for the
yeah,
children today
yeah. That
nowadays with
timing
study.
and also most importantly, so 11th sloka will give the solution what Prabhupada wants us to do from Dhira and Adhira. Dhira and Adhira also we clearly Prabhupada makes it very clear. Okay, the Dhira portion and the Adhira portion also. So Prabhupada gives us that Isopanishad wants us this type of faulty education. Right? So this faulty education is getting into completely different aspects. So that is why we will see many of them better think that okay, let me do homeschooling, let me do this, let me get into Vedic study. So in even India also there are some specific schools now they started giving that kind of an education. So it is still going on, but still more from a materialistic perspective or more from it up in that direction. The perfect disciple must be like Arjuna, and the spiritual master is as good as God Himself. Right. So we have to become that mood of submissive state. Then we'll get the real knowledge. Okay, let's go to the 11th sloka.
Can I read through?
Yes, Prabhu.
Mantra 11. Vidyam cha yas tadvido ayam saha avidyaya mitim chitva vidyadhammatam asnute. Translation. Only one who can learn the process of science and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. Purport. Since the creation of the material world, everyone has been trying to attain a permanent life. But the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity from old age, death, disease, or death. Nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, but it cannot discover anything that can protect man from the cruel hands of old age, disease, and death. From the Puranas, we learn that activities of Hiranyakashipu, a king who has been much advanced materially, wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and the strength of his science, he underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all planetary systems become disturbed by his mystic powers. He forced the creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him. He then asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amara, by which one does not die. Brahma said that he would not reward the benediction because even he, the material creator who rules all planets, is not Amara. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8:17, Brahma lives a long time, but that does not mean he is immortal. Hiranya means gold and Kasipu means soft bed. This cunning gentleman, Hiranyakashipu, was interested in these two things, money and women, and he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He asked that from Brahma many benedictions in hopes of indirectly fulfilling his desire to become immortal. Since Brahma told him that he could not grant the gift of immortality, Hiranyakashipu requested that he not be killed by any man animal, god, or any other living being within 8,400,000 species. He also asked he not die on land, in the air, water, or any weapon. In this way, Hiranyakashipu foolishly thought these guarantees could save him from death. Ultimately, however, although Brahma granted him all these benedictions, he was killed by the personality of Godhead in the form of Narasimha, the Lord's half lion, half man incarnation, and no weapon was used to kill him, for he was killed by the Lord's name. Nor was he killed on the land, in the air, or in the water, for he was killed on the lap of that wonderful living being, Narasimha, who was beyond his conception.
Thank
The
you.
whole point, sorry.
Yeah, we just. I still remember whenever we daily sing Narshima prayer, no, somebody will always Hiranya Kashipu. They will the Hiranya Kashipu portion alone. Everybody will keep stressing more and more and more. In one of the lectures, Maharaj was jokingly said, "I don't know whether everybody understood the word Hiranya Kashipu." Okay. Yes, Hiranyakashipu is a devotee, no doubt. He was Jaya Vijaya's, his Jaya Vijaya, this one. But still, everybody wants to, whenever they sing that Narsimha prayer, no, they'll Hiranyakashi. So, so jokingly, Maharaj also said, if you have to go and study Isopanishad to understand what is Hiranyakashipu's point. And even in Bhagavatam also in detail about how Hiranyakashipu was, nobody can do anything like Hiranyakashipu in both ways. Both ways means like nobody can do austerity like Hiranyakashipu, and as well as nobody can do worst things or the most abominable things that anybody can imagine. So, from a demonic mentality, Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa are all at the topmost, or all we'll say they're all PhD holders, right? So, the intelligence that was given to them, they had completely uh, misused. The austerity they're supposed to perform, the opportunity to perform austerity itself is very tough. So you get that opportunity, but you utilize it in a totally uh, becoming kind of amara way. Like no, I will try to beat death, but it's not possible, right? So everybody wants permanent life, but it's not possible. That is the fact, and then everybody will accept that fact. So vidyayam cha avidyayam yaschastad vedobhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tritva vidya amritam ashnute. So very clear, right? One who can learn the process. So you should know that yes, this is not possible, this is correct, this is incorrect. So knowledge is all about what is right and what is wrong. Okay, both side by side, and then only they will be able to come out of this janma mrityu jara vyadhi, and then they will be getting into the permanent nature. Otherwise, they'll be still entangled or still falling into the trap. They'll be continuously going again in the Ferris wheel. Yeah, continue. Anybody else?
The whole point here is, sorry, Prabhu, can I continue?
Yes, yes, bro.
The whole point here is that even Hiranyakashipu, the most powerful of materialists, would not become deathless by his various plans. What then can be accomplished by tiny Hiranyakashipus of today, whose plans are thwarted from moment to moment? Sri Isha Upanishad instructs us not to make one-sided attempts to win the struggle for existence. Everyone is struggling hard for existence, but the laws of material nature are so hard and fast that they do not allow anyone to surpass them. In order to attain a permanent life, one must be prepared to go back to Godhead. The process by which one goes back to Godhead is different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from revealed Vedic scriptures such as the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. To become happy in this life and attain a permanent blissful life after leaving this material body, one must study this sacred literature and obtain transcendental knowledge. The conditioned living being has forgotten his internal relationship with God and has mistakenly accepted the temporary place of his birth at all in all, as all in all. The Lord has kindly delivered the above mentioned scriptures in India and other scriptures in other countries to remind the forgetful human being that his home is not here in this material world. The living being is a spiritual entity and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual home. From His kingdom, the personality of Godhead, sends his bona fide servants to propagate this message by which one can return to Godhead. And sometimes the Lord comes himself to do this work. Since all living beings are his beloved sons, his parts and parcels, God is more sorry than we ourselves to see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter. Intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya or transcendental knowledge. Human life is best opportunity for the culture of spiritual knowledge, and a human being who does not take advantage of this opportunity is called Naradhama, the lowest of human beings. The path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge for sense gratification is the path of repeated birth and death. As he exists spiritually, the living entity has no birth or death. Birth and death apply to the outward covering of the spiritual body, of the spiritual soul, the body. Death is compared to the taking off and birth to the putting on of outward garments. Foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya, naissance, do not mind this cruel process. Enamored with the beauty of the illusory energy, they undergo the same miseries repeatedly and do not learn any lessons from the laws of nature.
Okay, Prabhu. This in between this particular section is very important. Um, what is it? So God is more sorry than we ourselves, right? So we might think, why is everything happening to me? But actually, Lord doesn't want us to suffer, right? But we are still suffering because of our own actions only, because of our own desires, of our own sense gratificationary requirements, right? So that is what. So actually, Lord is more suffering. So that is why sometimes for certain actions he will be very hard. He is more sorrowful. But this portion is also very important. The miseries of this material world would serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with nature. What does this meaning? Anybody? The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility. What is meant by incompatibility of the dead matter?
That we are not that we are not that we do not belong to this world, right?
Correct. So we do not belong to this world. We incompatible with dead matter, which means we are not associated with this temporary world. We are not associated with this material world. We are compatible only with the spiritual world. So indirectly, so the miseries, whatever that come to, so whenever we get all kind of big miseries, it indicates that this is dukkhalayam, this is ashashvatam, this is temporary, this will keep coming. So we need to go to the next level. Okay, I think the other sections are all very clear. Vedanta Sutra. Prabhupada gives other questions also, I think. Yeah. The living being is a spiritual identity and can be happy only by returning to the spiritual home. Hiranya means we know, Hiranya Kashipu means we know. Hiranmayena Patrena. I think in the coming sloka they'll be talking about Hiranmayena Patrena, the gold and effulgent part, and soft bit. Okay, I think we've covered this also. Yeah, I think okay. I think this sections we can just skip. I think the same understanding only Prabhupada is making it to make use of the bad bargain we can understand. So whatever we have, we'll try to utilize this portion. Okay. This portion is right. The path of Vidya is most perfectly present in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life in the enquiry of absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized step by step like Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Okay, this portion also. The central purpose of these 18 principles is the attainment of transcendental devotion service towards God. Right? Even in Bhagavad Gita also, even though Krishna gives a detailed understanding of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, this, but finally that everything is more towards that Bhakti. Encouraged to learn the art of devotion service to the Lord. तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान सात्वतांपतिः श्रोतव्य कीर्तव्यश्च देयः पूज्यस्त नित्यता. Okay, so Bhagavan Sattvatam he's we need to understand Bhagavan. That portion is also nice. Okay, this Bhagavatam is very important understanding. Sloka is also mentioned. Unless dharma, artha, kama, moksha, right? Unless religion, economic development, sense gratification aim towards attainment of service, they are simply different forms of sense. Okay, let's go to the next sloka.
Prabhuji, the mantra says in this one, the 11th one, that we have to learn the process of nascence and transcendental knowledge side by side. So
Yes.
we are learning transcendental knowledge. Why we should be learning? We know that this is like it is nascence, but it says that we should learn even the process of nascence side by side along with the knowledge portion. So that if you can explain, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, so the side by side is which is wrong and which is right. We should know, and sometimes no, we are because this material world is so strong, and the tendency to get into a wrong direction is higher. The knowledge of the real path and the wrong path we should know, because sometimes now because of influence of so much of other factors and other things, we really don't know which is right and which is wrong. So that in that sense we should know both. Okay, that is what Prabhupada is trying to emphasize. From the sloka perspective, it is very clear. You have to focus on what is right. But Prabhupada is giving that additional step also. You should also know what is wrong, because now after some time, right? For example, now in the current situation also, we might think, okay, that is also right and this is also right. Right? Certain situations will have a lot of what do you say, ambiguity, a lot wide nature, which will say no, I think that is also acceptable, this is also no, it is either one or zero only, right? So in that sense we should know what is not to be done. So we have to do side by side here. It means that, oh, don't go very detailed into the understanding of the other knowledge, that is not required, but at least we should know at a higher level what is not to be done. So for example, if you take any law book will have both side by side, what you should do, what you should not do also. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu also, even in the Nectar of Instructions, when we read, fourth sloka is about what we should do, fifth sloka is about what we should not do, right? So in the sense that is also required, because we have to be very careful, we have to be ensuring that we don't do that. If we are following this, we are doing this is one aspect that will increase, but we should not also do is also very important. Even in Nectar of Devotion also, very clearly the steps of performing devotion shall be very elaborately mentioned, and another set of instructions not to do also is also emphasized. Okay.
So yam and niyam kind of thing.
Yeah, niyam, yes, niyam and
Thank you, Prabhuji.
one second. Yeah, please read the 12th slokas translation.
Okay. Just one moment, Prabhu. Translation onwards, right, Prabhu? Those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance, and still more so do the worshippers of the impersonal absolute. The Sanskrit word asambhuti refers to those who have no independent existence. Sambhuti is the absolute personality of Godhead, who is absolutely independent of everything. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.2, the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna states, Name viduhu suraganaha prabhavam na maharshayah aham adirhi devanam maharshinam cha sarvashah. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in this for in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages. Thus Krishna is the origin of the powers delegated to demigods, great sages, and mystics. Although they are endowed with great powers, these powers are limited, and thus it is very difficult for them to know how Krishna himself appears by his own internal potency in the form of a man. Many philosophers and great rishis or mystics try to distinguish the absolute from the relative by their tiny brain power. This can only help them reach the negative conception of absolute without realizing any positive trace of the absolute. Definition of the absolute by negation is not complete. Such negative definitions lead one to create a concept of one's own. Thus, one imagines that the absolute must be formless and without qualities. Such negative qualities are simply the reversals of relative material qualities and are therefore also relative. By conceiving of the absolute in this way, one can at most reach the impersonal effulgence of God known as Brahman, but one cannot make further progress to Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Such mental speculators do not know that the absolute personality of Godhead is Krishna, that the impersonal Brahman is the glaring effulgence of his transcendental body, or that the Paramatma, the Supersoul, is his all pervading plenary representation. Nor do they know that Krishna has his eternal form with its transcendental qualities of eternal bliss and knowledge. The dependent demigods and great sages imperfectly consider him to be a powerful demigod, and they consider the Brahman effulgence to be the absolute truth. But the devotees of Krishna, by dint of their surrendering unto him and their unalloyed devotion, can know that he is the absolute person and that everything emanates from him. Such devotees continuously render loving service unto Krishna, the fountainhead of everything. In
Thank
the
you.
Bhagavad Gita, okay, Prabhu.
Thanks. So just, I think this is very clear understanding. So this again another Avidhi. I mean the way we also this Avidhi Purva. Anda tamasa pravishanti eha asambhutitam upasatahe tato bhuya evato te tamo. Okay. Ye to sambhutam. So sambhuti asambhuti. Okay. Asambhuti is more or the devatas or the demigods. So whatever worship that we try to do, it is actually getting into the darkest region of ignorance. Which means what? Darkest region of ignorance here means again and again in the mode of ignorance where we'll be coming again to this Janma Mrityu. So, but still more, do the worship is of impersonal. So, which means the next it is much more worship. Okay, what is best, what is good, one portion. What is okay is one. What is the worst is again this one. So, Prabhupada is giving our this Bhagavad Gita's portion or the Ishopani is also saying to worship demigods is somewhat okay, but much more worst is somebody worshipping the impersonal nature, the impersonal that is much more worst. Okay, so in a way where even in Bhagavad Gita, it's like when somebody is working in demigods, they are actually indirectly worshipping the Supreme Lord. So Krishna is giving that understanding. So it's okay. Just for their material sense gratification, material benefits, therefore this one they worship devatas, it's okay. But the much more worst portion is all about the impersonal nature, worshipping the impersonal, which is completely in the void state, Sunyavadam state, and then they don't really accept the position of the Lord. Okay, so Bhagavad Gita and this Gisham also gives that very clear instructions. This is not correct. This has to be corrected. Worship means to the Supreme Person of Godhead, who is Archa Vigraha form, who is in the Sachidananda form, who has a separate identity, and we have to worship to that person. This is all the Prabhupada is giving Name Vidusaragana Sloka also. He is making it clear. Okay. Let's continue quickly. I think this portion is also all specifically talking about his particular position only. I'm just skimming through some of the sections which we need to understand. Isopanishad points out that one who worships the demigods and attains their material planets still remain in darkest realm. The whole universe is covered by gigantic material elements. It is just like coconut covered by the shell and half filled water. Let's provide the example. Outside the universe is vast and unlimited Brahmajyoti expansion. So that Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, Bhagavan realization also. So to some extent, Brahman realization okay, then the Paramatma realization is little okay, higher, but the best realization is what? The Bhagavan realization. Okay. But what is the Bhagavan realization? That Bhagavan is the Paramatma, that Bhagavan is the Supreme Brahman, everything is coming from that Bhagavan. Okay, so it is not that three are different or three are different. It is like set and then the subset and then the main set. Okay, that is what we have to understand. Yeah, 1 second. Okay, I'm just going through any other specific points in this section. Yeah. The Lord states that as soon as one reaches Him by devotion service, which is the one and only way to approach the person of Godhead, one attains complete freedom from the bondage of birth and death. Again, the importance of Evam Parampara Praptam, this portion, Acharya Upasana. This also is very highly important. Okay. These rogues are most dangerous elements in the society. He's talking about somebody, all the pseudo acharyas or pseudo this one they know I know everything. Let me do this. So all kind of in the garb of religious propaganda is thrown into this one. So Prabhupada is also giving that question. Who has clearly declared Bhagavad Gita that envious persons in the garb of religious propagandists shall be thrown into the darkest under tamasam. Okay, they'll be getting into that darkest religion. So Isopanishad confirms that pseudo religious are heading towards the most obnoxious place in the universe after completion of their spiritual master business, which they conduct simply for the very nice word. Right? Prabhupada just giving slapping words. Isopanishad. So what is that? After completion of their spiritual master business. So in the name of spirituality, they are nothing but sense gratification. They are conduct simply sense gratification. Right? So he's making it. So all this pseudo religious, all this religious persons, and that also like we will say I'm a secular person. I'm this. We'll accept everything, and then the false gurus. Everybody are in this category. Okay, I think we will stop here. Yeah,
Prabhuji, one doubt. Sorry, Prabhuji. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that people who are in the mode of goodness, they worship demigods. But here, I think it means that if one thinks that the demigods is all in all, and then they worship for sense gratification, then they go into the darkest regions of ignorance. Is that correct, Prabhuji?
Yes. See, what does the darkest region here means? Darkest here region means what? Nothing but the same. This whatever we are living is also this sophisticated material life is also darkest region only. Outside it looks very nice, everything, but it is actually getting into the ignorant state. So even in the mode of goodness, they worship all the devatas, everything, but that is no use. It is going to still be benefited only for highly sophisticated living in this material life, in this material world, and again coming back again and again. So until that is moved out, until we get out of it, then there's no other purpose.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Iti Shushruma Dhiranam. So the same sloka, Anya Deva Bho Sambhavat, Anyat Ahur Asambhavat. So we saw Sambhavat Asambhavat. Iti Shushruma Dhiraha. So he's like Shushruma Dhira means what do you say? Listening from a dhira. Right? Iti Shushruma Dhiranam Yesnasta Vichaksha. So we have to listen from undisturbed authorities. So we should get this knowledge from the undisturbed knowledge. Okay, we'll just quickly run through some of the questions. Like they had some doubts on NOI.
On the Nityananda Vamsha, we wanted your explanation, Prabhuji. We just found out that Nityananda Vamsha means like coming under the disciplic succession of Lord Nityananda, and one who's not afraid to preach, he comes under Nityananda Vamsha. These are the only things we have written for that. Is that okay, or we need to add something more, Prabhuji?
Correct. That is correct. I'll just go through some of them. You hold on.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So some of them had some other questions. See, advancement in Krishna consciousness means what? Depends on the attitude of the follower. Yeah. So he can be Prabhupada making it very clear. It is not about the rules and regulations, not about the qualities, not about it. It is all about the attitude. If the attitude of the person is very nice, attitude here means humbleness. Attitude here means submissiveness. Attitude means ready to learn. Attitude means no fault finding. Attitude means being in a very Dira state. So all those things will fall under the attitude. Being following the regulative principles, following the satyam, following the saucham, following everything falls under the attitude. Okay, and you should not show any negative attitude. You should be ready to accept, ready to be humble, ready to forgive, ready to be tolerant. All those things. So then only advancement of Krishna consciousness will grow. Okay. And it was demonstrated by the Goswamis. The Goswamis were in a very highly, in a very materialistically, in a way, they are at a very less one. But the moment they left everything and then they came to Vrindavan, they suffered like anything. They had materially, they had a lot of suffering, but still they maintained their humbleness. So they'll keep that grass, they will follow, they'll do dandavats, they'll do so much of austerities just to have that advancement in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So I think some of them had this question also. Yeah, going to Nityananda Vamsa. Yes, Nityananda Vamsa means somebody who is dedicating his life to preaching, irrespective of all the difficulties and then difficulties, issues, and then following the principles, following the procedures. Is whomsoever is following this, they are all under Nityananda Vamsa. So generally, Nityananda Vamsa means the Kudustupan Sonala. Amma. Okay. So that is what is Nityananda Vamsa means. Okay. I think in preface, this is the only main question, and then that 50, 25, 25 will be there. You should understand in preface. I think in text to one, yeah, text to one also. I don't think any specific pointers. Okay. Also this also. Any other specific doubts? Any clarifications?
For two questions you had answered also already on Thursday, so we got those answers. Others are okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Gugya Magyati Pratida also we understood, right? So discussion on the confidence options more from a Gugya Dhamma, like more from a secretive. Gugya means secret, Gugya means confidential also, which means that which cannot be described and discussed with anybody and everybody. Okay. And then also sharing personal things also is okay. So two aspects. One is discussion on confidential topics. Second is discussion on personal things also, so that which will help them to grow in their spiritual life. So revealing one's mind and confidence. So the person to whom we are talking, we have to be very clear that okay, yes, whatever I'm trying to talk with them is giving that benefit.
एक बार वो नियमाग्रह भी बोल दीजिए ना प्रभु.
Yeah. See, in sixth chapter we saw about Niyamagraha, right? Niyamagraha is the following the rules and regulations, the following the set of activities that somebody has to perform. Okay, that is called as Niyama Agraha. So Niyama Agraha, there are two aspects. Niyama Agraha and Niyama Agraha. Niyama Agraha means that which is supposed to follow, and Niyama Agraha means like for the sake of following they will follow, but it is actually not following it. Which means it is there in principle. Sorry, not in principle. So it is there as rules and regulations, but not followed in principle. For example, I'm just trying to get some example. Yeah, somebody even during Ekadasi. Yesterday was Ekadasi, and you have to follow the rules and regulations. But there is a situation where you are trying to follow the niyamagraha of fasting, but you are in a very difficult situation in which practically it is not because of some not possible because some health situation. You are supposed to take tablet. You are supposed to do some eating this one. So in principle, what is that you are not supposed to do? But in the contextual, in the practical way of seeing, yes, it is okay to eat. It is okay to accept certain things so that that is still followed. Right? For example, Ambarish Maharaj also, when he was trying to break the fast, when he consulted all the rishis, they said, yeah, now that Durvasa Muni has gone, but there is one way you can break the fast at the same time not breaking the fast. You can drink little water. In one sense, breaking the fast, yes, you have been completely fasting with nirjal. You have already taken water. Okay, that is. Second is, the water is not considered as one kind of breaking one, so it is in a way it is both. Okay.
So Prabhuji, niyam agraha means like taking tablet is niyam agraha. And following the Ekadashi, that is niyam agraha. The things which we should follow, and agraha means which we should not follow.
Yes.
And taking tablet is niyam agra. It comes under which are when we are forced to take medicine, but it's not to be followed. Hare Krishna. Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So you have to go contextually and see what is to be applied, what need not be applied.
Prabhuji, one question. We were asked about three examples of perfect devotees in Shantaras, Dasyaras, and Sakyaras.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is text 8. So there in the Shantaras, actually examples, perfect examples of devotees were not given. So from outside, we came to know it is the four, like Kumara brothers.
Yeah, it is there very clearly in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 19th chapter.
Hmm.
It is very clearly mentioned. Today
So
also,
we can, okay, we mentioned those examples there, which are there.
today I will just show you. In Madhya Leela, it is very clearly mentioned in 19th chapter. It is again from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has got detailed this one. So Rupa Goswami, when Mahaprabhu is trying to give instructions to Rupa Goswami, he is specifically mentioning this the different types of rasas. This we will go in detail in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the main six rasas and then the secondary, primary and secondary rasas. I will just today also I was reading sloka number 180, I think. You're able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So these are all primary rasas. So Krishna Prabhupada is giving all. In fact, Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrita gives specific examples also. Um, yeah. So these are all examples, right? In Vrindavana, examples of devotees in Pratam, Shidhama, Sudhama, and Bhima, Arjuna, and more of Sakya Rasa, parentalhood, Mother Yashoda, and this one, and then examples of example of Shanta Bhaktas, sloka number 189. Shanta Bhaktas are Nava Yogendras and four Kumaras. Okay, examples of devotees in Dasa Bhakta are innumerable. So in this, Prabhupada is also giving detailed understanding. You can quote Nava Yogendras. You can talk about the four Kumaras also.
So the names of the four Kumaras is okay to give as three
Yeah,
as three as three examples of perfect devotees.
yeah. If you go to the sloka, he'll give very clearly.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Navayoga, in fact, Prabhupada gives the names of the Navayogendra also. Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabhuda, and then Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanatana. These four names also. And then servants in church, Raktaka, Chitraka, Patraka, Dharuka, all this. Anuman also.
The questions will be all objective type, Prabhuji, because only
Yeah,
25
yeah.
marks you're saying.
Yeah, this test is very short only, so you should be able to finish it by half an hour to 45 minutes. It is just for 25 marks only. Okay.
So Prabhuji, Dasya Rasa, even Srila Prabhupada will be a good example or no?
No, Prabhupada. See, that's what I'm saying. See, everybody will have certain rasas will vary from everybody. Certain times, for example, Balram did some dasya rasa also to some extent. He was trying to serve Krishna in one sense, but still he's a elder brother. So in a way, he's serving in the dasya rasa form out, not outwardly, but internally that is understanding. But outwardly, he is the elder brother. So Prabhupada is when you say Prabhupada is a Nitya Siddha, he's serving his Acharya, and then when the Acharya takes one mood of performing in any way like Manjaris or Gopas, then he will take up that. So we have to see in that perspective only.
Okay, so because it is said that Dasya Rasa examples are innumerable, so I was thinking because everybody is a Das here,
Everybody
servant
are
of the
dasya.
servant of the
There's no
servant, right?
doubt about it. Correct. Everybody are dasya. But predominantly, what is it? You have to see.
Okay.
Okay. Predominantly, everybody are dasya. And everybody
So,
are in the Shantarasa. So when somebody is starting the devotion service, 99% it is Shantarasa only. Without doubt about it. With awe and reverence, everything we'll see, and then we'll worship. Then slowly we'll focus on our dasya, and then slowly we will try to improvise and see whether going towards Sakya Bhav or in the Madhurya Bhav or towards the Vatsalya Bhav.
okay. So Lord Balram, for that matter, where will he be? In Vatsalya Bhav?
That's what. So Balram, if you see, he can be in any this one. He'll be
Okay.
Shantaras also. He'll be like any other person. He'll be like when he was playing with the Gopas, he was showing the Sakya Bhav also.
Sakya Rasa. Yeah.
And then he was serving him also. And then he was an elder brother. He was getting some advice also. So in a way, Balram is like is Balram where he demonstrated all kind of rasa.
Okay.
In the purport, he's mentioned as Sakyaras as the best example of Sakyaras. So we can tell that Baldev
Yeah,
for Sakyaras.
yeah.
Thank you, bro.
Krishna is very intelligent and cunning. Whenever he want to utilize Balram in playing, he will try to play. Whenever he wants to go and seek advice, he'll say, Dauji, can I do it? Okay, and Balram laughingly will say, sometimes he knows how the tricking question will come. Okay, for example, when they decided to go, the wonderful pastime is when they decided to go to this Talavan, everybody will say no. Okay, and then all these boys also very intelligently know. When we ask Krishna, Krishna will not accept. So we'll go and ask Balram. So they will all ask go and Balram. Balram, बहुत भूख लग रहा है, very this one, and we know this in this Talavan there are nice juicy fruits. We want that. So they also very cunningly. So Balram also knows that okay, yeah, this is coming. So he will also say okay, let us go. So all of them will go, and then that time he will ask Dauji, what should we do? And then Krishna Arjuna will John Arjuna. So Balram will say, hey, you are asking this question. I know what is that you are planning to do, but simply you are asking me this question. Okay, so in the what is in the hasya in the more of kind of humor way, Balram will say, okay, I know what your intention is. Okay, let's go. So they will go and then they will shake the tree, and then they know that this Dhenukasura will come, but still they will go and see they could have simply done in a very simple way, silently. They are good cheating persons, okay, and they are good robbers also. They could have silently gone, silently taken that fruit, and they could have silently come, right? But still, wantedly they will go. They will in all other gopis' home. They will go do silent activity. So wantedly, they will go to this forest, they'll shake the tree. And Balram will do this activity. All the Gopas could have stopped, right? No, 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 let us do this. Okay. And then they will shake the tree so nicely, so violently, which woke up this Dhenukasar. Not only Dhenukasar, his own other friends also. So all of them will come and attack, and then so it's a nice pastime which will show this same personality performing all kind of acts. Okay. Balram Dauji ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Jai.
Jai.
Prabhuji, one more question was there that why Srila Rupa Goswami has given much stress to Radha Kunda. So
Yeah,
answer we have written is that because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it.
correct.
So that's the answer, right, Prabhu?
Yeah, Mahaprabhu, yeah, that is that.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So that is the understanding and mood of the Acharya. So following an Acharya's mood is very important, instruction is very important, and taking it out instruction to the heart is important. So that is what is. Yeah.
Prabhu, sorry, actually, I lost my voice connection between when you were explaining the Niyam Agraha, specifically the example of Ekadashi. Prabhu, if you can repeat that.
Yeah. We'll go to the Niyamagraha portion. This is from sloka number 8, right?
Two, Prabhu.
Oh, the sloka number 2. See, we have to understand two aspects. One is niyama agraha and niyam agraha. Okay, agraha means with the little higher one. Okay, which means eagerness to accept, and then agraha means failure to accept. So, what I was trying to say is sometimes we are in a situation where we are eager to accept, but sometimes we are not able to accept or fail to accept. So both are kind of okay, but mainly what will advance is more towards that eagerness or the agraha portion. So I was giving that ekadasi example. Sometimes certain situations we are very eager to fast, right? But we are not able to. So we have to see what is the principle, what is the highest context and highest decision. Okay, so if I don't eat, if I don't take tablet, or if I don't listen, then my bodily condition will become much more worse, and I will not be able to perform later devotion service. Means then better eat, better take some tablet, better drink water, better drink some sugar, whatever be it, so that at least in the next thing you're able to. So that is more from a, even though it is failure to accept, but still it is kind of okay. But when you are able to do it, when you have that eagerness to accept at that agraha stage, that is the best one. Okay, so it is both are available, but how do we accept it and how do we take it as all individually? It will vary.
Prabhu, both can be, in fact, helpful if we think from, or our intention is to advance in the devotional activity, like
Yes. Both are
like
both
with
are
this
good, both
example.
are okay. But
Yeah.
little word of caution is what Prabhupada is giving in the last section. Yet they should very faithfully accept the for advancement of Krishna consciousness. They should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic development. Only the problem is sometimes there is a clause in which it is acceptable. Okay, let me follow that clause, and then so at some point of the time we don't know. We are completely going into the economic development. We are more from a dharma artha kama moksha stage.
Okay, Prabhu, got it. Thank you.
So that is why Prabhupada is making this. Those who are interested in Krishna consciousness should not be eager to accept rules and regulations for economic development. So sometimes, yeah, it is okay. Yeah, this is good. No, this is very. So sometimes it will be same rules and regulations will be nice. Sometimes same regulations will be totally actually not acceptable. Another example, we can give a lot of examples to this. Okay, maybe one day we can discuss about this also. Sometimes certain rules and regulations is perfect, good, but certain rules we cannot follow. We will not be able to follow, or if we follow, it will be actually going in the wrong direction. So, okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you,
Thank you so
Prabhuji.
much,
Dandavat
Prabhu.
pranam.
Hare Krishna.
So
Dhanapranam.
I will see you all at 3
Hey
o'clock.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.
Dhanavad pranam. Thank you, Thank Prabhu. you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhammat
Very
Nam.
well, very well. Thank you.